Let me ask the question. Do we have a targeted policing apparatus or unit or anything like that in KPD for high crime areas?
So we have our CERT team, which we do deploy the hot.
What does that stand for me?
Community Engagement Response Team? Community Engagement Response Team.
Okay. So
we do employ them to hotspots. Much different than what you had going on in Memphis. Much different. All I know from Memphis is what was in the public domain, right?
Yeah. That's why I don't want to compare them to us, but what do we do?
So what we do is we have police officers that are in uniform and they're in marked cars. And again, I'm not an expert on what was going on in Memphis, but what you see, when you're able to see in the public domain, they're in plain clothes, they're in unmarked cars. So they all work together. Yeah, so we have like 2 6-person groups. But they're doing more than just, when I say hotspot policing, we have them in our hotspots, but they're not just going in an area just like stopping everything that moves. They're getting out and they're doing walking beats. They're walking and engaging the community, talking with people. They are absolutely, going after guns and drugs and other things like that, but they're doing other things as well. And, you can do hotspot policing well if you're properly supervised and you really, take a hard look at what they're doing to make sure that violating the department procedures, treat the people with dignity and respect. Hotspot policing can be approached in hundreds of different ways.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why I asked this, I think that it's very important, as you shared, that people know what we have here as opposed to what transpired, as you mentioned, in Memphis in particular. But those types of units are all over the country.
Yes, everybody has.
In one way, shape, form, or another. And the other question is, how do you determine the hot spot, if you will? And I've rarely seen this type of focused policing in Halls, Powell, Farragut, West Knoxville, fill in the blank, other than places where Black and brown people predominantly live. And I live in East Knoxville, so I'm not naive as to the criminal problems we have. But I know that if you look for something in a certain place, you're going to find it most likely if you don't look anywhere else.
When we deploy, we're looking at historical data. The intelligence-led policing model, I think, is so important because when we go into certain areas, we really need to know what we're looking for, who we're looking for, not just looking for a black guy. That's why I think the CERT model is so important, because when we don't have that information, we still want them in those areas where we have a higher concentration of crime.
So the CERT team, I guess, is not like the Scorpion team, but our SOS team, our Special Operations Squad, they ride around in unmarked cars. We got plenty of unmarked SUVs with armed guys riding around protests all the time. So we have that squad, whether they're CERT or some other name. And until recently, our SOS squad did not have body cameras. And one more thing I wanted to touch on was hotspot policing. So I don't care if you call it hotspot or broken windows or data-driven or anything. Well, all it means is the people that we gave tickets to last year, or the people that we cited for crimes last year, or the people that we over-policed last year are now overrepresented in the database this year. So if you believe that in the history of the United States that minority folks have ever been over-policed, so if we use that data, that past data based on biases in our system, and we carry that forward, we're carrying those biases forward. So I don't like this hotspot policing. I don't have that broken windows, that data-driven stuff. I think it is a way to paint and paper over the excess in the fire department already. So thank you guys very much.